back from seeing Deadpool and Wolverine, and so I thought this week's video, it would be great to do like a review, talk about it, whatever. I might kind of ramble on for a bit, I'm sorry. You might also notice I'm kind of at a different angle today, although who knows, maybe I'm actually gonna like this angle. If this is the case, I don't have to move my chairs around every time I film, but I'll show you real quick. I did a whole video about cleaning up my bookshelves and my room, my workroom, film studio, and that cleanliness did not last very long. I have a bunch of these boxes and I took them out into my hall and I was gonna only bring them back into the room as I was able to go through the boxes, but then I went on vacation for a week, and before I left for my vacation, I brought all the boxes back in so that the cats would not be playing in them the entire time we were gone. So it is a little bit of a mess in here right now. And I guess, hey, I'm human. I'm just really bad at things sometimes. But anyway, that's not what today's video about. It's about Deadpool. Before we get too far, this video will be full of spoilers. I'm gonna start by talking about the first two Deadpool movies, which I watched for the first time in the past week or so, and then once I get to starting to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, it's gonna be full of spoilers for that. So just, you've been warned. Before I get into it, I did want to talk a little bit about the first two Deadpool movies. So, first of all, I hadn't seen a single Deadpool movie until last week. And here's the thing. I remember seeing the trailers when they were about to come out, and I was like, oh, that seems funny. But then I realized it was R-rated, and that was the time of my life where I didn't watch R-rated movies, so I didn't really end up having a desire to watch it at the time. And then when I learned a bit more about it and realized how violent it was, I was like, yeah, I definitely don't want to see that anyway. But with the announcement of Deadpool and Wolverine, I was like, I finally should actually get around to watching these movies. I mean, as time went on, I didn't really care about the R rating anymore or anything. And I was willing to consider watching it, but it was really the fact that this third one was coming out that made me want to watch these movies. And honestly, after watching the first one, I was like, it was okay. I liked it. It's like, if I was rating it on Goodreads, it would be a 3 stars. If that makes sense. Like, I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. I liked it enough, but it wasn't like my favorite thing. I laughed. There were funny aspects, but there were some of the jokes that maybe didn't land super well for me. But the biggest thing is the plot was kind of really simple and kind of boring and didn't really grab me. But then I watched the second one for the first time last night, and that one was much better. The plot was just, I was way more invested in the plot. And on top of it, I feel like the comedy landed better. I think that's just kind of an effect of the fact that the first one's like 8 years old at this point, the second one's not quite as old as that, and the new one's, current. So typically, comedy doesn't always age well, is my point there. And so I feel like as we've gotten closer to the present time, I feel like the comedy landed better with the newer ones. But then also, I just felt like I enjoyed the plot itself more. And I feel like while I was watching the second one yesterday, I mean, there were only a couple of, violent parts that really, I didn't like very much. But I knew some of them were coming, I've seen some scenes of it before and whatnot. But I still feel like I was fully entertained and invested the entire time. And there were some really great parts to it that, a couple things just coming off the top of my head is, the cameo of some of the X-Men, like Beast, when Deadpool was saying, they couldn't get any big-name X-Men, and then they closed the door. That was hilarious. And, the credit scenes at the end, going back to clean up the timelines and whatnot. But above all, I feel like it's the fact that I was more invested in the plot, and it's because it had more of, emotional connection. You wanted to root for Deadpool and Russell and what was going on there and people being their best selves, whereas the first one, it felt like, he was just going after this guy who ruined his life, and I didn't really empathize with him as much. And I feel like a lot of times what I really like about books and shows and stuff is the characters, and so it's Deadpool's funny, yeah, but I didn't like him as much in the first one as the second one. So coming to the third one, I really enjoyed this one. It was just really fun. I feel like they took all of the same aspects about, like, the second one, having, like, a plot line you can root for, and those funny comedy quips, but then, like, really adding in, like, the cameos and the references and everything by connecting it to a bunch of different Marvel, like, not just adding them MCU, but also, like, a lot of the different X-Men and other movies. The biggest thing with this is that, I mean, you could call it fan servicey, which I don't mind. Like, that can be a good thing. I haven't seen as many of, like, the X-Men movies and other Marvel movies that aren't MCU. Like, I've seen all of the MCU movies. Most of them I've seen more times than I can count. But other Marvel stuff, I haven't been as, you know, consistent at seeing all these movies. So I have seen Fantastic Four, a handful of the X-Men ones, but I can't really remember exactly which ones I've seen. I know for sure I saw Days of Future Past, but I haven't seen Logan, which I feel like was a pretty solid foundation for just this film in general. And yeah, a lot of those I haven't seen. But I did really appreciate the cameos that I understood, and even the ones that I didn't understand, or not understand, like the cameos that I didn't immediately recognize. There were quite a few cameos that I didn't really know who they were right away. Like Elektra, I've never seen that Daredevil movie, and Blade, I haven't seen that either. I'm just totally outing myself as, like, not a real Marvel fan, I guess. No, just kidding. I'm primarily an MCU fan, and, like, that's the thing, is that there's so much Marvel content out there, and I really like the MCU because of how it all connects to each other and how you could see these connections from one movie to the next. And so I didn't very often branch out beyond the MCU, especially because I am embarrassed to say back in high school I thought I wasn't a fan of superheroes. But I didn't really realize what I was missing at the time. And then I got into the MCU, so that's kind of my real entry point here. All that to say, like, I didn't understand or immediately recognize all of the cameos, but the ones that I did, I was, like, all for. One of my favorite parts was when Chris Evans showed up, and, you know, it's like, oh, it's Captain America, and, like, that's what the movie really wants to make you think. And then Deadpool's all like, he's gonna say it, Avengers, and then he's like, flame on, and that was probably one of my very favorite parts of the movie, because one of my favorite bits of trivia is the fact that way before the MCU, Chris Evans was the Human Torch. And it's also a fun point of trivia that also the other Human Torch, Michael B. Jordan, ended up in the MCU in another role too. But I really loved that part, and like the references to the TVA and Loki season 1 and season 2. That's what I really love about the MCU, is the way that it makes... I think my cats are fighting in the hall. But that's one of the things that I really love about the MCU, is that it's made this universe that can connect to itself, and now it's this multiverse that has even more connections and everything. And so, like, the connections that this movie made to everything was awesome. Oh yeah, Happy being in it too. The whole thing, trying to join the Avengers. Like, it was really enjoyable, but it also a little bit makes me feel like I'm missing out from not having seen all of the X-Men movies and any of the other Marvel movies that could have been referenced in this Marvel multiverse that we now have. This movie kind of made me want to watch them, go back and watch the X-Men movies, rewatch the ones I've seen, watch the ones I've never seen. That's a bit of a time commitment though. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, but I guess that's a good thing about it, that it made me feel like, oh, I wanna, you know, learn more about that. So I get these references instead of making me feel like, you know, I'm not cool enough for not understanding the references. I do feel like if you don't recognize all the cameos and the references in the movie, like, you still definitely enjoy it. And like, the best part of it is, you know, the fourth wall breaks and the quippy comments and that comedy that Deadpool always brings with him. And all of the comedy in this one landed super well and was really funny, and, you know, it was just lots of laughing and enjoyable action, as well as like what I feel like was a well-written plot where the characters found themselves on this path and you could root for their intentions and their goals and everything, but also see where they were coming from if they didn't end up, you know, always doing the heroic thing. Deadpool and Wolverine fought with each other so much. But I saw, like, you can see why, right? Anyway, I did enjoy the film. It's probably the best out of the three, in my opinion. But I've probably rambled on long enough. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm assuming if you got this far, you have probably already seen it. And if you got this far, go ahead and comment what was your very favorite part. Like your favorite joke, your favorite scene, your favorite character, and any of those things. What was your very favorite part of the movie? And we can chat down in the comments. But I think that's it for this video. I am glad I am back to posting semi-consistently. I did have last week off because of my trip, and I'm posting this week late because of that and the fact that I didn't see this movie until today. But I'm hoping to be able to post weekly, so definitely keep an eye out. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give a like and subscribe, which you can do by clicking over there, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified next time I post another Marvel related video. And also check out some more of my videos. Up top you've got another something video, don't know what the best, probably Marvel something. Let's do the Captain America trailer reaction, and underneath that is a playlist of all of my Marvel videos. I think the playlist might be titled MCU, which I don't know if this fully counts as MCU. It kind of is. So whatever. Anyway, MCU adjacent stuff right there. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!